How's it going, everybody, and welcome to the Minute Channel. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite series of all time, and that is Persona. Of course, if you know, I have a Persona channel that I do pretty much weekly videos or daily videos sometimes on Persona. But today we're going to be answering a question that I get asked a lot, and I mean like a lot of times. That is, what is the best Persona game to start with? And honestly, this one is, to me, is a up to debate and really a preference as far as which one do you want to play with, because there's no correct answer or anything like that. However, let's go ahead and kind of dissect the different ways you could approach the series and, you know, mixed results and what you can get and everything. So first of all, you could play the games in chronological order, you know, meaning from Persona 1 all the way to Persona 5, and obviously with the distinctive additions that they have and everything like that. Personally, I don't see anything wrong with doing that. In fact, I probably encourage that a little bit, because there is a progression and an evolution of the Persona series over every single individual game. However, you're not required to do that. The games are actually not really, although they loosely tie in a larger scheme of a timeline, there is no significant sequel or development from game to game where you need to play one or the other. The only exception is Persona 2, Innocent Sin, and Eternal Punishment, because those are a duology, which the two games do interact with one another as a sequel, one to the other. But other than that, other Persona 3, Persona 4, Persona 5, Persona 1, you don't have to play in any particular order. I particularly will say a lot of people nowadays are starting with Persona 5 because they just found out about the series. Persona 5 is really accessible, being able to be played on the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4, and a lot of people are even playing with Persona 5 Strikers on the Switch or PC as well. So that is one option, right? The other option is playing the other accessible game in the series, which is Persona 4 Golden, which you can play originally on the PS3 as Persona 4 Vanilla, or Persona 4 Gold on the PS Vita and on the PC. Now, these options is honestly one of the most accessible games right now, and also one of the cheapest one. If you go on Steam and buy Persona 4 Golden, you can buy it for $20 and sometimes even 15 or 10. I've seen it on sale a few times. So a lot of people will pick up P4G because it is a really accessible game to play with. Now, I personally think the Persona 4 Golden is gonna be one of the easiest entry-level Persona games, not because only is a good starting point, but also because it is a story that is really gonna get you into the games. It's really gonna explain the mechanics. It's gonna kind of give you a taste of the Persona series overall. I personally believe that this game was really well made for beginners. Persona 5 is good too to start with, and obviously, again, it's the newest one, it's the most popular one. It does have a big people, a lot of, you know, fans behind it and everything like that. The one thing to me is a lot of people find it really hard to go back to the older games because of how cool and how good looking Persona 5 is in general. Like the style, the colors, the music, everything is just so vibrant and colorful and big and everything like that. And you go back to play Persona 1 per se, you're kind of like, oh man, like there's like a really jarring difference between Persona 1 and Persona 5. On the other hand, if you do something like Persona 4, you can you're in between. Like you can go back to Persona 3 and it kind of looks like Persona 4 in a lot of senses. You can go down a little bit and you go to Persona 2 and Persona 1. You're like, okay, well, you know, it's a PlayStation 1 game, you know. Persona 4 is originally a PlayStation 2 game, so, you know, you can still kind of go back and forth and be like, you know, you can still kind of have that ambience and everything. And on the other hand, you can also go to Persona 5 later on and be like, you know, you can now see a significant upgrade from Persona 4 Golden to Persona 5. So, personally, I feel like that's a good mix of both. You can also start with Persona 3. That is my favorite Persona game. I started with this one. Personally, I think that it is one of my favorite games. However, I can see why some people have some issues with, especially with a lot of the other mechanics that they have, such as the fact that in Persona 3 FES, where you cannot even choose or select your attacks for your party members, is pretty much a game where you control your main character, but every other character controls themselves. You do have some commands that you can put to them and everything, but it's nothing where you can actually just choose every single character. That is the only exception, really, because Persona 1, 2, Persona 1, 2, 4, and 5 do have the ability to select your attacks for your party members. Persona 3 Fest is the only one that doesn't really allow you to do that, so a really weird choice. If you're interested in the difference between Persona 3 Fest and P3P, I did make a separate video for that. Check that on the link in the card. But anyway, that is pretty much in these things. Like, there's all the different Persona games you can start with. Personally, I will not recommend starting with a spin-off game. I know there's a lot of spin-off games. There's like the fighting games, there is the dancing games, there is the Strikers, Persona Q. All these spin-offs are good, and I'm not gonna say that there's one that is bad or anything like that. And you can definitely start with any game that you want. There's like no rule or anything like that. But typically the spin-offs require to have some previous knowledge on the protagonist and the team and everything like that, and to know the world that they live in and everything. So personally, I wouldn't say that it is recommended to start with a spin-off, whether it's the Strikers game or the other fighting games or anything like that. It's just a weird spot to start, because again, you have no prior knowledge of these characters, and the games sometimes don't really make an effort to kind of introduce everything. I personally say the best way will start with some mainline game, and again, pick which one that you like. Some people who look at the artwork from like Persona 1 and they're like, oh my god, I love that artwork, or they look at Persona 3 and they're like, oh, I love the blue color, so I'm gonna pick Persona 3. You know, whatever rings your bell, whatever makes you like you wanna start the series and everything. To me, it's just exciting to see people getting into the Persona series. I've been a fan for over 15 years, so to me, it's just a matter of like being a fan. But of course, you guys can pick whatever you want. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this. If you're new, please consider liking and subscribing. Maybe sure to be around if you can. Anyway, thanks so much for watching this, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.